course, by clicking on this video, you probably already know this is the Benchmade 950 Rift. This is an Osborne design, and what a beautiful design it is. But let's just jump right into this thing and get going. The blade on this is a reverse Tonto blade. So a lot of functionality this brings, and I prefer this much over a Tonto, a standard Tonto blade. I like the belly it gives you, adequate belly. And then with that reverse Tonto, what that really offers you is a very strong tip. Now, with that strong tip though, you also get a workable tip, especially when it comes to EDC tests. So it is strong, yes, but you don't lose a whole lot of the fine detailed point that you might want to use in some EDC tests. The blade length on it is about, just over 3.5 inches long. So it might be a little bit big for some people for EDC. Me personally, I prefer minimum of 3.5 inches to 4 inches. That's what I just like in an EDC blade. The steel on this is 154 cm. Most people are aware of 154 cm. If not, real quickly, it's a great steel. It takes a wicked edge on it, but it also holds the edge for a long time. As far as sharpening goes, I don't notice that this is difficult to sharpen either by freehand or using some sort of jig with it. Let's check the thumb studs on this, just to give you a close-up on those. I like the thumb stubs. They protrude enough from the handles, because the handles actually dip down in, and grabbing them with my thumb, I find it not a problem at all. Now the deployment on this blade, a little bit interesting. When I first got it, it almost felt like you just touched it and that thing would sail right out of there. Now I have to give it a little flick to get it out. It's certainly not as smooth as when I first got it. And what's happened is just over time and carry, and it's got some junk down in there, and as a result it just slowed down the deployment a little bit. It still comes out, goes in good, but like I said, it certainly wasn't as good as when I first purchased the knife. Access lock on this. This is one of my favorite locks on a knife. Reason being is, one, for you lefties out there, it should be pretty obvious, it's ambidextrous. But for me personally, I love how easy it is to flip in, and I generally don't use it to flip it out. You can, but I just use it to flip in. For an EDC knife, it's nice to flip out, do whatever you need, and sometimes, my other hand is occupied on holding whatever I'm cutting or whatever, and it just flips in so nicely and then right into the pocket. The lockup on this thing, the lockup is solid. It's just a solid lockup on this blade. And I haven't treated this blade nicely. I've used it just as hard as I have any of my other EDC folders, and it's taken the abuse very well. The pocket clip on this is your pointed pocket clip. A lot of people don't like this one because of what they say it reminds them of. Personally, I have no problem with it. As far as the functionality goes, it's great. It doesn't protrude too much. You can kind of see there. And it's got some nice, strong tensile strength on there. And it is reversible left to right. You got the 3 hex head screws there, but it is only tip up carry, so you can't do tip down carry. Now that jumps us over to the handles. The handles are a big part of why I purchased the blade. The first time I saw it, I just thought overall it's a gorgeous blade. I like the overall flow of it. I like the lines of it. The blade, not only is it functional, the reverse Tonto, but I like the way it looks as well. And the handles, they are micarta handles, and the black and charcoal just look really cool to me. And you can kind of see the design there. I was just really drawn to it. The one hit I would give to it on the handles, and I was kind of jokingly thinking about calling this review the 5-sided blade. What I mean is that you've got one blade here, you've got 2, 3, 4, 5 blades total. These edges are actually really sharp. I ended up taking a Dremel tool and sanding those down a bit, and now it's not too bad. In fact, if you look up real close, on the top and the bottom of the handles, you can see kind of a 3-tier drop on that angle to round that angle off. That's perfect. That feels really good. But you didn't have that once you get to this side of the handles, both front and on the spine here. And they were really quite sharp. And over extended use, those would definitely become a hot spot. So quick Dremel work and knock those down to where I have no problems with them. Now at the price point of this, I don't know. I expected a little better there on the ergonomics on the handles, but again, something that's easily taken care of on your own. Pillar construction on the blade, and you can see I've got a lot of pocket lint in there. It's nice that way because you can clean it out. Makes it easy to clean out. You can see the liners inside are not milled. So that'll add a little bit of weight to the knife. So it's about 4.8 ounces for the weight on this thing. And you know, some people, they're not gonna like that. For me, it's not too bad. This is part of their black class. Forgot about that lanyard hold. Not the biggest lanyard hold I've seen, but certainly functional. You can get most things through there if you like the lanyards. And again, for me, what attracted me to this knife overall is the looks. I just think it's a gorgeous knife. Ergonomics overall are good once you knock down those edges on the side. I would like some jimping on the back of it. I think that would be an added benefit to this blade. For me, the changes I would make if I were to make this blade and keep it at the same price point it is, one, I'd make sure that these edges didn't come as sharp as they do. I would put some jimping back here, and I would mill the liners for a little bit lighter weight. The weight issue to me, it's not that big of a deal, but that's what I would do to it. With these handles, it is a little bit of a thicker knife. You can see they kind of step down. So this slants down and that slants down from the middle of the handle there. You can kind of see that. And I would say it's on the thicker side. Again, here's the Endura 4, just as a base of comparison. So you can see it's a little bit thicker than that. How about the Kershaw Blur? It's about on par with that. The Blur is probably a little bit thinner. Griptilian. So if you've got a Griptilian, this is a pretty beefy knife. And you can see it's a lot beefier than the Rift. And just one more as a base of comparison, the Paramilitary 2. Give you an idea. Well, let's just throw one more in there. The RTAC 2. Yeah. Okay, I was just seeing who's paying attention. So overall, guys, I really like this blade. It is not a cheap blade. As far as EDC goes, this is going to run you, at the time I film this, about $165 thereabouts, depending on where you get it. There's certainly other EDC blades out there that'll do just as good a job as this for much cheaper. There's no question about that, with that 154 cm steel. But again, for me, what really drew me to this is the overall looks of the blade. And typically, I won't spend this much on a EDC blade. I decided to kind of bite the bullet on this one and went and did it. And I've really enjoyed the knife. I wish the deployment was still as good as it once was when it came out of box. You know, I could take it apart and clean it, but it's just not that big of a deal to me. I mean, it comes out just fine, so I don't know. I'm not terribly worried about it. Thanks much for watching.